Hi, I'm Terry Stark, co-owner of Willie's Wine Bar, Stark Steak and Seafood, Willie's Seafood and Raw Bar, Bravas Bar de Tapas, and Monty's, and Bird in the Bottle
In Santa Rosa, California.
in Santa Rosa, California.
Um, so this is a very personal thing, like this whole documentary, we wanted to do this as quickly as we could, just because the stories are really fresh, and we wanted to kind of show the world that California is way stronger than anything.
Sure.
So when when did you first hear about the fire?
About 1:45 in the morning on Monday.
I'm sorry, if I give you a question, if you could repeat the question, like the first time I heard about the fire.
Okay, all right. The first time I heard about the fire was about 1:45 in the morning on Monday, the day that morning the fires were rampant, that Willie's Wine Bar had burned already. So it was one of the first structures, I believe. You know, the fire started around, I think, like 1:15, 1:30. So as it came back over the hill and wiped us out.
And how many employees worked there?
We had 52 employees that worked at Willie's.
And where are all the employees now?
We were able to relocate all of the 52 employees that wanted to stay with us, that were able to stay in the area, to our other 5 restaurants. Try to find them positions. We made room for them, so it worked out pretty well.
Did any of the employees lose their homes?
We had 4 employees that lost their homes, and some of them worked at Willie's Wine Bar, so they not only lost their job technically as well as their home. One gentleman lost his car. It was a pretty tragic night for him.
How did you feel the first time you saw the location after it burned down?
The first time I went by Willie's Wine Bar, it was pretty devastating. That was our first restaurant. It's been there for 15 years, as far as our restaurant. But the building itself was originated in 1887, and it was a stagecoach stopover. It has such a long history. It's pretty much a landmark for Santa Rosa. So it was devastating.
Considering how long you'd had the restaurant, it's been there for 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Tell me about some of the memories of Willie's Wine Bar. To tell me some of the great times you had there.
The memories of Willie's go deep because it was our first restaurant. It was the restaurant that my husband and I worked at out of all of the 6 restaurants. We were there every day. We did the renovation ourselves with the Home Depot book, and so it was really like our labor of love, from the beginning, and didn't really know what we were doing. At least I didn't. My husband had been a chef in restaurants. I was a hospitality major, but I was in hotels and that kind of thing. So I never actually even ran a restaurant. And so it was all new and special. It's kind of what put us on the map here. It's where we met everybody, made strong connections, and led us to opening 5 more restaurants.
Tell me about opening day. Do you remember opening day at Willie's?
Yeah, I do. I was in the office trying to print menus on a bubble jet printer that printed 1 page at a time off my laptop, and the ink on the paper was streaking, and I was crying, and my mom came up in the office and I said, "I can't do this." She said, "Yes, you can. You don't have a choice." So that was day 1, and we opened up. It was all small plates, and this community kind of thought we had invented small plates. They had never really heard about that style of service, and so when we opened, the first couple weeks were interesting. People were telling us good luck, but not in a very positive way because they didn't quite understand it. So we were kind of trailblazers in that regard. and it took off. Within 2 months, we were, booked solid, and had, rave reviews, and everyone seemed to really love it. And we always said Willie's Wine Bar was in the middle of nowhere, but the middle of everywhere. It was a funky little roadhouse, literally between, it was a great meeting place between Santa Rosa, Healdsburg, or Windsor, and so it was a great little spot.
And how did you feel when you realized that the restaurant that started your whole empire was gone?
Well, when we found out Willie's was gone, it's like a death. Sorry. It's kind of the heart of our company.
Do you think you'll rebuild?
We're taking it one day at a time, whether or not we're going to rebuild. It's going to be down to whether we can, because it was such an old building. It's kind of a interesting lot, and it was so many things were grandfathered in that we're not sure. If it's in the county, not the city, if they're going to allow us to rebuild. But there's also the component of, because it was so old and, like I said, funky, but that's what made it special, that we might not, to be able to recapture that is going to be difficult. So we're just trying to figure that out, what our next step is going to be.
When we're going to go over there a little bit later today, and just kind of walk around with you and take a look at it. What was the most important thing in the building that you lost?
Probably my original Willie's Wine Bar poster that was given to me like when I was 21, my first job out of college. And it was kind of what that restaurant was built on, because we didn't realize that Willie's Wine Bar was in Paris and had been for 25, 30 years before we opened Willie's Wine Bar. I was given the poster. My husband liked the name of it, and he said that would be a great name for a place someday. And he liked it because there was no really guidelines or any restrictions on what kind of food we could serve. So we just thought it was great. And his dad's nickname was Uncle Willie in the Marine Corps. So that poster was lost in the fire. It was an original. And like I said, it was given to me, and I had no idea what it was or what it meant. But that was the beginning of, our adventure.
So when these situations happen, it's always like.
No, keep going. Keep going.
Hey, babe.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
When these situations happen, I'm always amazed by the amount of adrenaline, right, that people just sort of take on. So regardless of what happened to them, their instinct to help others right away, regardless of what's going on in their own life, seems to really kind of take over. I don't want to make sure you get old, Michael.
Sorry, I was going to bring you
Thank you so much.
closer because you're in this dark area. I'm going to bring you a little closer. Sorry. I've always been in a dark area my whole life.
Did they powder you up?
Does it look like it?
No, you look great.
Yeah.
You guys can just kind of roll into
Thank you.
Yeah.
You ready? You good? Yeah. I'm always amazed by the amount of just adrenaline that people take on.
Tony, we're just gonna mat him real fast.
Okay, sure.
you can talk. I will not make any noise. If you feel like you want to have a conversation, I
That's
will
okay.
cut it out. All right.
You got enough of that?
I don't know. She told
That's
me
what I
don't
said.
have
You're
to,
gonna need a lot.
It's all clear, so you know. Perfect. That was perfect timing.
came in to kiss you hello.
And I got nothing.
You got enough. You can do it again if you want.
Look at something like that too. Just bringing it
Just in
out
the
of
middle, yeah.
That'll be fine.
Okay, we're good now. Thanks.
I'm always amazed by just the raw adrenaline people take on when these things happen. So as Willie's burned down, you also opened the doors to your restaurants for first responders, and you were part of feeding the community. And so the emergency response, like everyone sort of got together and decided to help out. Tell me what it was like to just take on that responsibility to feed first responders.
Well, I'm the son of a Marine, and my mom was a nurse. So it's I've seen, you take care of business first, and then when you have a chance, maybe down the road, that's when you kind of hide yourself in a corner. But we knew that, number one, we had 52 employees that just lost their jobs, and some of them their homes. So that was our first priority, was to replace, redirect all of them into the other stores, which we were very, very fortunate to be able to do that. So nobody really missed a beat when it came to earning an income and having a place to work. And then this community has, first of all, it's a community of farmers. So you got that sense. You felt just that unspoken come-togetherness that just happened. And we cook for a living, and so that's the best way for us to give back. And so anybody that was out there that was a first responder or had been displaced, we wanted to make sure that they had a place to go. We both felt, Terry and I, that anything we could do to recapture or hold on to a sense of normalcy was our first task at hand. And feeding people was, that's our medium.
Well, it was really nice to be able to get open as soon as we did after the fires, so that we could provide that dining experience. While it was wonderful how many people were providing food, in the disaster, the relief centers and things like that, but to allow people to come in and order what they felt like eating right off the menu it just gave them a better sense of, relief and a little bit of normalcy back for them. I mean, we received so much great feedback from that it was more beneficial to us than I think anyone else. But
and the employees. So we had, we have 400 employees, 400 kids out there, and they're confused too. So just getting them any sort of rhythm back was important. And the way we did it was, listen, whoever can open up when you can open up, serve what you can serve. If it's 2 or 3 items off the menu, and you can only pour beer and wine, then that's what we'll do. But we felt we had to do something.
Describe what the landscape looked like the night of the fire.
Sorry, one second. I want to make an adjustment. Just turn it down a bit. Sorry. There you go.
Good. We're good? Okay. Can you guys tell me the landscape of the night of the fire? Like what that felt like? I'm sure you're driving through it, right?
Well, there were very few places that you could get into. At Willie's Wine Bar, we had a manager, and he had just started with us probably 30 days. He was with us maybe a month. And he was the closing manager for Willie's Wine Bar that night. And he left, but then he heard about the fire, so he went back to turn the gas off. This is probably about 12:30 in the morning. And the fire is up the ridge. And he went back to turn the gas off, and then he tried to hose the building down. And until he started to see cars driving past the restaurant, and they were on fire. And that's when, the adult in him kicked in and he felt he should leave. For us, our house is at the base of some of the hills, so we could see the fires as they danced around the whole city. It was crazy how it went from, you're looking over here and you see the blaze and the glow and the smoke, and then 2 hours later everything's shifted and now it's over here. That's kind of scary. We had probably
About 10 people
10
at
people
our
at
house.
our houses that had to evacuate, and we were on standby to evacuate. And I would drive the truck up to the ridge every couple of hours just to see how close it was getting to us. And the first day, I thought we were going to be okay. Second day, okay. And this is how long this fire went on. Third day, I drove up, and it had shifted to an area that was closer to us. And I remember coming back, and I said, okay, we're packing for real. And that's some scary stuff. But even now, I think it's worse driving through on your way to work. You're heading out to shop, and you have to drive by Coffee Park, Fountain Grove, and you've almost kind of put it in your back pocket for a few hours, and then you see it again, and you just sink. You just sink. You just don't know until you're there and you see the destruction and how fast it was and how furious it was. But we're Sonoma County. Back for sure. We're already on the way back.
I'm going to stop you right here because we're on a crazy tight schedule. Can we continue this conversation at Willie's?
Yeah. I was trying to get one more quick question, then we'll go. So, the relationships, especially the husband and wife relationship, and we're working in restaurants, and my wife and I we're business partners on top of everything else. So I know what this is like. Well, tell me what it meant to have each other during this.
I think that we've always said that we're completely different. And our responsibilities to each other is that when one is down, the other one has to take the up roll. Because if we're both down, that's a tough day. So, like I said, being the son of a Marine, I took the role of, let's get what we have to get done. And I gave Terry an opportunity to just feel the impact. But that didn't stop that first week. I mean, it's even worse now. It's like the 7 stages of death. We're definitely in the, we didn't lose our home, but we lost. I feel we've kind of lost some part of our soul, because that restaurant, that was our first one. So the grief part is kind of, let's just say this: we're very lucky to live in an area that has a lot of wine.
Yeah, there wasn't enough
Just
wine
saying.
that week.
Thank God for wine.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice. Thank you.
Let's go see the carnage.
Thank you.
Mark, I'm Amanda Gold.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi. Nice